And so I think that in this room, you've got really no excuse. I think now you come to Aberdeen, everyone was saying he's only been here 2 years and is already setting up events like this, doing amazing things. There really isn't any excuse. We didn't have this back in 2004, 2005. We didn't have that. There wasn't an example of this. There wasn't a community. And I certainly never considered an entrepreneurship journey. I mean, there weren't any entrepreneurs from my ethnic background anyway that were running around Aberdeen. They were not speaking at events, they were not organizing events, they were not going to networking events. And so I started my career definitely in the corporate world and grew up in that environment. And I suppose what I started reflecting on was that I didn't really want to be an engineer when I grew up. That's what started happening. I started feeling like when I look around me, I couldn't see anybody like me being a senior engineer in any company. I just couldn't see how I was going to get there. And I'm quite an impatient person, my friends will tell you. And so very quickly, I went more into the kind of commercial side of things. I was fortunate to have a manager, Capella Festa, who noticed that unlike most engineers, and if you're an engineer in the room, do forgive me for what I'm going to say next, I actually liked people. And I wasn't satisfied just sitting there writing code and reservoir engineering models and pipeline simulation. I kept asking those questions of, what about the customer? Oh, can I go to the demo? Oh, can I do that? And she noticed this and started taking me to customer meetings. And after a while, she would ask me to present rather than her. She would just sit in the room, give me pointers in the car. And everyone said, oh, you're her favorite. Maybe I am. And over time, I moved more and more into commercial roles, did an MBA part-time, working full-time, doing an MBA part-time, 2 children under the age of 4. Again, there's no excuse. So during that journey, I realized I really wanted to be more of a commercial person. I still had not considered entrepreneurship as an option. Again, I'll keep referring back to being Nigerian. So where I'm from, usually, it's a bit different now, but if I came home with a man and said, oh, this person I want to marry, and they say, oh, what does he do? And I say he's an entrepreneur, they'll be like, uh-oh, he's a fraudster, or he fell out of he dropped out of school, no one would hire him, and this is what he's really doing. It wasn't respected and certainly didn't feel like an option for me. So becoming an entrepreneur was a bit of a surprise for me. I wrote a book through my MBA, and the book did reasonably well, became top 100 in 5 categories on Amazon UK. And my friends started saying to me, you should become a consultant. You should kind of use the knowledge in that book, which was about B2B social media. I've interviewed a few different people. And I think one of the benefits about taking those opportunities was I needed a supportive network. Left on my own, I wouldn't have on my own done the things I had done. I may have come up with the idea or thought, oh, this would be good. But that confidence came from people around me, the supportive network, people that said, I think you should try it. I think you'd be good at it. And so I want to encourage you to continue to support each other, continue to make sure that you are looking out for opportunities, not just for yourself, but for each other. I think in Aberdeen, there's an opportunity to support the business community. I think the city has gone through a lot over the last few years. There's oil and gas downturn, and then when we thought we're coming out of that, we were hit with COVID, and then we thought we're coming out of that, Russia invaded Ukraine. We thought we were coming out of that, interest rates. I mean, it was been one thing after another. And I think it's been tough on the city. But out of hardship comes opportunities. And a lot of you would have seen that. There's an opportunity to support each other. There's an opportunity to pivot, do something different. A lot of people left the oil and gas industry and moved into other sectors and started looking at food and drink or started social enterprises. So good things do come out of hardship. And so I encourage you to look out for those types of opportunities. And as you come up with those ideas, make sure that you're not doing what a lot of people do, which is they have an idea and they go to people and say, I've got this idea, would you buy? Make sure you're doing actual market research where you're asking people about the challenges that they have around that and how they're currently solving it. Don't, as we say, lead the horse, or lead the witness, is how my dad used to say. You're asking questions and leading people to a certain answer. People are very polite, especially in Britain, you may have noticed. And so if you say, oh, I've just designed this kind of car that flies, what do you think? They're like, oh, that sounds fantastic. And then you go and manufacture thousands of this car and wonder why nobody is buying it, right? But the question needs to be around, so how are you currently transporting yourself? What are some of the challenges you're having with your transportation? And having those kind of conversations rather than saying, I've just made this, will you buy? Most people will say, yeah, of course, it looks great. So that's something I want to encourage you to do. As you have those ideas, don't be afraid to test it out, ask great questions. I want to leave you with my 3 S's. Remember, I said I like acronyms and alliteration. And so I don't know if you've got my slide next, the next one along. Great. So self-awareness. So as part of my journey, I think one of the biggest things for me was being self-aware. I started at one point in one of my very last corporate jobs where I started to see that I wanted more. And day to day, I didn't feel like what I was doing was playing to my strengths. I actually started mapping out how I was feeling day to day. I had this thing attached to my wardrobe. And every day I would come back and write whether this was a good day or not, whether it felt like a good day or not. And if it did not feel like a good day, why? And some of my reflections would be around, well, I spent a lot of time working on this project and I really didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy doing that research. I didn't enjoy working on that data. And conversely, if I had a really good day, why did I have a good day? What felt good about it? Oh, because I was in front of people and I was presenting this idea, and that just really energized me. And it helped me to understand myself a lot better. I mean, sometimes we grow up with impressions of what people think we are. And so I grew up, for instance, being the most extroverted person in my family. And so I thought, all right, I'm an extrovert. And so when at a certain point, I found myself kind of getting drained of energy when I was around people for a certain time, wanting to withdraw. I thought maybe I'm moody, maybe what's happening? Why do I feel like this? Because I've been told all my life I'm an extrovert, I'm out there, I have a lot of friends. But actually, I'm not that extroverted, if you get to know me. I'm actually probably somewhere in between. I like to retreat, not because you've offended me, but because my energy is a bit drained and I need to rejuvenate. And that's really helped me in my career. So I encourage you to be self-aware. And some of the questions that you could ask yourself is, how do you get stimulated? What stimulates you? Is it being around people exchanging ideas? Is it reading? Is it when you're on your own? Is it doing your own research? Is it developing an idea and really going detailed and building the blocks of that? Or are you more of a supportive person that likes to help other people with their ideas and be that sort of right-hand person? Really understand what stimulates you. You know, what makes you exceptional at what you do? You know, are you really good at building relationships? Are you a details person? Do you pick what other people maybe miss? Get an understanding of that. And have you mastered your emotions? I mean, for a long time, what I was doing as well was coming out of situations and asking myself, I feel this emotion, like I feel angry after that. Why do I feel angry? And start kind of, you know, mapping back to what exactly made me angry about that. And you uncover a lot of interesting things about yourself. It could be that actually the person or the thing that happened in itself was not an annoying thing, or you maybe have some chip on your shoulder. And as a result of what someone has said, you're angry. And really being able to master your emotions and understand why you feel the way you do is going to help you go far. And I'm telling you these things because it's very possible to have a good idea, launch it, and then somehow you can't take it any further. And it's not because it's not a good idea, it's because of some of the stuff that we're discussing. And do you have healthy ways of coping? How do you cope with being angry? How do you cope with disappointment? Do you retreat and not talk to anyone for days? Do you lash out? What do you do? How do you handle it? It's okay to be angry, for instance, but how do you handle that? And if you're going to go on that entrepreneurial journey, you're going to be angry sometimes. People are going to let you down. How do you retreat? What do you do? How do you cope with that? Second one is self-discovery, which I know somebody pointed out to me, because I designed this, someone pointed out to me that this looks like a female reproductive system. And I only just like saw it when I only just saw it.
It's stimulated mode.
Honestly, I didn't work it out until somebody said, is it deliberately feminine? I'm like, no, it's not. So now I have to redesign it. So I do apologize in advance.
Yeah.
So this really helped me, and this was me kind of on that journey of self-discovery. So there are kind of 3 aspects to it. So as you look at that entrepreneurial journey, if you've got ideas, if you feel there's something burning in your belly, one way to really kind of provide a guiding light to what the next steps would be is to look at this. So you've got bringing positive impact. So do you have a desire to bring positive impact? Does your idea bring some kind of positive impact in the community or in society? Do you enjoy what you're doing? And are you good at it? I hope you can see how even just one of those things missing could be unfulfilling. So it's possible to enjoy what you're doing and bring positive impact from it, but you might not be actually very good at it, right? And it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. You just need to be aware of that and maybe decide to get better at it, get some training, get a mentor, get a coach, whatever that looks like. But being aware of that is really important, because if you enjoy doing what you're doing and you may bring positive impact, but you're not good at it, then it lacks mastery. Now, how do you stand out? How do you avoid being pushed aside by someone who is good at it, for instance, even if they don't enjoy it, right? And then looking at, if you bring positive impact, you're good at it, but you don't enjoy it. And sometimes people are in that situation. You're in a career right now, work for a company, there's positive impact, the company is doing great things, you are good at it, but there's a hole, there's a gap, there's a void in you. You're not really enjoying it. And that lacks enjoyment, and you can't keep going on like that. And finally, if you're good at it, you enjoy it, but it lacks some positive impact, then you might need to focus on, okay, so what's my purpose? What really can I bring with the skill set that I have? So it's just a bit of a guide to really understand what it is that you bring to the table, and hopefully, regardless of whether you're starting a business or you're looking to get to the next step of your career, hopefully this all together really provides the opportunity to be authentic in whatever you choose to do. And finally, you'll be pleased to know the self-investment piece. So I'm really a nerd. So any opportunity to go to school and learn stuff, to go to a course. I have 5 university degrees. At one point, I left 2 out of my CV because I just thought, it's quite a lot of going to school. But I think it's important to invest in yourself. It might not be a university degree. It might be some online course. It might be you pay to have a coach work with you over a few sessions to get to the bottom of something. But don't hold back from investing in yourself. I know sometimes it's difficult, just to be a bit more difficult for women, I have to say. You think, oh, this money, maybe I should use it to buy a dress for my child, or is this selfish to be spending this money on myself? No, it's not, because your child is going to grow up being very proud of you. You're going to be their role model. They're going to say, oh, my mom can do this, and I absolutely can. So I think self-investment is really important in those areas that you find that there's a gap. So if you've got an idea, you've got an aspiration, even if you don't have all the skill sets, if you're willing to invest in yourself, you can't do anything. And to just end on what Edward said, if you know what, you know how, sky's the limit, right? Thank you very much.